Family doesn't betray family. But he did. And I made him pay. My name's Ashton. I'm 29. I'm a site supervisor, managing construction crews by day, rebuilding my life by night. My brother's betrayal cut deeper than any blade. I used to think loyalty was blood. Now I know better. Revenge is my answer. Ethan was my compass growing up. 2 years older, with a laugh that filled a room and a way of making every plan sound like gold. He was my hero. We'd huddle in Dad's garage, surrounded by the sharp scent of sawdust and old paint cans, sketching out our future construction company on torn notebook pages. Ashton and Ethan's Builders, he'd say, tracing the words with a stubby pencil. My hands, already rough from hauling tools at 15, held on to that dream like it was the only thing that mattered. At 29, I was site supervisor at Callahan Construction, a mid-sized firm in town. I'd earned it, grueling days, aching joints, and a name for getting projects done right. Last April, the boss called me into his trailer. My boots scraped the dirt outside, my pulse quickening as he slid a new hard hat across the desk. Supervisor. More pay, more crew, more weight on my shoulders. I left the trailer feeling like I'd finally made it, my chest tight with pride. I called Ethan right away. Beer's on me, I said, my voice bright. His reply came after a pause, too long, too quiet. Big shot now, huh? He said, chuckling. The words fell off, like a nail bent wrong. I ignored it. We had a side hustle, flipping small home renovations. Ethan worked the clients with his charm. I managed the crews and the builds. It was our stepping stone, our proof we could make it big together. But a week after my promotion, things shifted at the site. My crew, guys I'd shared smokes and stories with, started looking past me. My toolbox, always locked, was open one morning, a level missing. I asked my foreman, Jake, what was up? He shifted his weight, eyes on the ground. Heard you're getting careless. Ashton. Missing deadlines. My stomach twisted. I didn't miss deadlines. Never. That night, I pulled up to Ethan's place, the glow of streetlights cutting through the dusk. He was in his driveway, buffing his new F-150, its black paint gleaming like it mocked me. The air smelled of wax and something sour. You hear anything about me at work? I asked, my voice steady but my hands clenched. He leaned against the truck, wiping his hands, that easy smile plastered on. Just rumors, man. You know how it goes. His eyes didn't waver, but they didn't meet mine either. My jaw tightened. I wanted to believe him. Family doesn't lie to family. Not yet. Then I saw it. Jake's phone, left on a crate after a shift. A text from Ethan. Ashton's promotion's going to his head. Keep him in check. My breath caught, the site's floodlights humming above me like a warning. My hands shook as I stared at the screen, the words searing into me. Ethan, my brother, my partner, was planting knives in my back. My throat burned, not with tears but with a rage I didn't know I had. I locked the phone, my boots heavy on the concrete, as I walked away. What else was he hiding from me? That text from Ethan, keep him in check, was a splinter under my skin. I couldn't shake it. The construction site, once my kingdom of steel and sweat, turned hostile. My crew, men I'd trusted with heavy equipment and tight deadlines, stopped meeting my eyes. At lunch, their laughter died when I approached. My clipboard, my lifeline of schedules and permits, felt like a lie in my hands. Whispers followed me. Ashton's slipping. He's cutting corners. My pulse hammered as I checked every foundation, every weld, twice, 3 times. I didn't cut corners. Ethan knew that better than anyone. I'd built my life on being the reliable one. Up before dawn, home after dusk, my body aching but my mind sharp. My promotion as site supervisor was proof I was more than Ethan's shadow. But that text changed everything. My hands, calloused from years of gripping tools, trembled as I drove home, the city's neon glow blurring through my windshield. My thoughts churned. Was Ethan always like this? Had I missed the signs, blinded by years of looking up to him? I confronted him that weekend, pulling into his driveway after a brutal shift. My work boots crunched on gravel, my shoulders tight from hauling beams all day. Ethan was there, leaning against his F-150, its black paint gleaming under the floodlights. The air reeked of polish and something sharper, deceit. You talking about me at the site? I asked, my voice low, my eyes boring into his. He tossed a rag over his shoulder, grinning like nothing was wrong. "Ashton, you're wound too tight. It's just shop talk." His tone was light, but his fingers twitched, betraying him. My chest burned. I wanted to slam my fist into that truck, demand the truth. But his calm gaze stopped me, made me feel small, like I was the kid brother again. Was I imagining this? Back at work, the rumors grew teeth. My boss, Callahan, called me into his trailer. His face was hard, eyes narrowed. "Heard you skipped safety checks on the West lot," he said. My stomach dropped like a loose scaffold. I hadn't skipped anything. I pulled out my logs, my hands slick with sweat, and showed him every signature, every timestamp. He nodded, but the doubt in his stare lingered. That night, I stayed late, rewriting schedules, my pen scratching the paper like it could erase Ethan's lies. My eyes stung, not from dust but from the weight of being questioned. I was fighting to keep my job, my name, while Ethan's voice echoed in my head, smooth and untouchable. I sat in my truck after, the engine off, the silence heavy. My phone lay dark. No texts, no apologies. I thought of our garage days, planning our business, Ethan's promises filling the air. Now those memories felt like ash. I gripped the steering wheel, my knuckles white, and realized I couldn't let this go. Not anymore. How much deeper was he planning to cut? Ethan's lies were a weight I carried silently, each one pressing harder against my ribs. I didn't tell Mom, didn't tell her sister. Family was sacred, and I wasn't ready to break that. But every day at the construction site, the whispers grew louder. My crew muttering about missed inspections, shoddy work. My hands, steady when lifting beams, shook when I signed off on reports, double-checking every line to prove them wrong. The site's air, thick with dust and diesel, choked me. I wasn't slipping, but Ethan was making sure everyone thought I was. My jaw ached from clenching it, holding back the urge to scream. Nights were worse. I'd lie awake, the hum of my apartment's AC mocking my racing thoughts. Ethan's face flashed in my mind, his easy smile, his lies. I'd see him at family dinners, all charm and confidence, while I sat quiet, my fork scraping an empty plate. He'd upgraded his life. New F-150, tailored jackets, a watch that caught the light like a taunt. Where was the money coming from? Our renovation side hustle wasn't that big. I started noticing things, his late-night calls, hushed tones, names of clients I didn't know. My gut screamed he was playing dirty, but I had no proof. Not yet. I kept working, pushing through 14-hour shifts to rebuild my reputation. My shoulders burned, my eyes stung from staring at blueprints under flickering trailer lights. The crew's respect was slipping, and Callahan's trust hung by a thread. I'd catch Ethan's truck at the site sometimes, dropping off supplies for our side gig. He'd wave, all teeth, but his eyes were cold, calculating. I nod back, my throat tight, my hands itching to confront him. But I didn't. Not yet. I told myself it was for Mom, for the family. But really, I was scared of what I'd do if I let the rage out. Then it came. Friday night, after another brutal day, my phone buzzed. A voicemail from a client, Mrs. Delgado, who we'd done a kitchen remodel for. Her voice was sharp, nervous. "Ashton, we need to talk about the invoices. Something's not right. Call me back." My heart stopped. Invoices were Ethan's job. I played it again, her words slicing through me. I sat on my couch, the room dark except for the phone's glow, my breath shallow. What had he done now? My fingers hovered over his number, but I didn't call. Instead, I opened my laptop, pulling up our business records, my pulse pounding in my ears. The numbers didn't add up. Extra charges, missing payments. Ethan's name was all over them. I slammed the laptop shut, my chest heaving. The apartment was too quiet, the weight of his betrayal heavier than any steel beam. I thought of our childhood, building forts in the backyard, promising to have each other's backs. Now he was tearing me apart, piece by piece. My hands curled into fists, nails digging into my palms. I couldn't stay silent anymore. Not after this. What was he hiding in those invoices? Mrs. Delgado's voicemail was a spark in a dry field. It burned through me, every word a confirmation of what I'd feared. Ethan wasn't just whispering lies at my job. He was rigging our side hustle to bury me. Our home renovation business, the one we'd built from late-night talks and shared sweat, was now a noose around my neck. I sat in my apartment, the glow of my laptop casting shadows on the walls. As I dug through our business records, my hands trembled, not from fear but from a fury so deep it felt like it could crack my bones. The invoices were a mess. Fake charges, inflated costs, payments diverted to an account I didn't recognize. Ethan's signature was scrawled on every one. The next morning, I called Mrs. Delgado back. My voice was steady, but my pulse raced. "What's wrong with the invoices?" I asked, gripping the phone. Her tone was clipped, angry. "We were billed twice for the kitchen remodel, Ashton. Thousands extra. And the bank says you authorized it." My stomach lurched. I hadn't authorized anything. I promised to fix it, my jaw tight as I hung up. Clients were dropping us. 3 in 1 week, all citing billing issues. My name was on every contract, every email. Ethan had made sure of that. I was the fall guy, and he was walking away clean. At the construction site, things were unraveling. Callahan pulled me aside again, his face like stone. "Clients are complaining about your side business, Ashton. It's reflecting on us." My hands sweated, my work boots heavy as I stood there, explaining it wasn't me. He didn't buy it. "Sort it out, or you're out," he said. The words hit like a sledgehammer. I'd spent years building my reputation, my calloused hands proof of every hour poured into this job. Now Ethan was tearing it down, brick by brick. That night, I drove to the office we rented for our side hustle, a cramped room above a hardware store, smelling of sawdust and stale coffee. I rifled through Ethan's desk, my breath shallow, the fluorescent light buzzing overhead. Hidden in a folder, I found it. A stack of forged invoices, my name typed neatly at the bottom, but the handwriting was Ethan's. My heart pounded as I photographed each one, my fingers clumsy on my phone. This wasn't a mistake. He planned this, built a trap to ruin me. My throat burned, the weight of his betrayal heavier than any load I'd ever carried. I sat there, staring at the papers, my mind racing. I thought of our childhood, Ethan teaching me how to swing a hammer, promising we'd build something great together. Now he was using my trust to destroy me. My fists clenched, nails biting into my palms. I couldn't keep swallowing this. Not anymore. I shoved the photos into my phone, my resolve hardening like concrete setting in the sun. Ethan thought he could break me, but he'd underestimated me. I was done being a shadow. It was time to fight back. The forged invoices were my breaking point, but they were also my weapon. Ethan thought he'd buried me, but I was done playing the fool. I started collecting proof, moving like a ghost through our business records. My apartment became a war room. Bank statements spread across my kitchen table, client emails printed and marked, my laptop humming late into the night. My hands, steady when directing cranes, shook as I traced Ethan's lies, diverted payments, fake invoices, all leading to an account in his name. My pulse thumped in my ears, each discovery a fresh cut. This wasn't just betrayal, it was calculated. I kept it quiet, didn't breathe a word to anyone. At the construction site, I played my part, head down, checking beams, signing off on deliveries. But my eyes burned from sleepless nights, my shoulders tight from carrying this alone. Ethan didn't notice. He was too busy strutting, his new watch glinting at client meetings, his laugh too loud. I saw him at our office, schmoozing a developer over coffee, acting like he owned the world. My jaw clenched, but I smiled back, my voice calm. "Good to see you, Ethan." He didn't see the storm building inside me. I reached out to clients, casual at first, just checking in. I'd say, my heart pounding as I asked about their payments. Mrs. Delgado sent me screenshots, proof of double charges. Another client, Mr. Patel, confirmed cash transfers to an account I'd never seen. Each email, each call, was a brick in the wall I was building against Ethan. My hands sweated as I saved every file, my breath shallow in the dark of my apartment. I was careful, methodical, but the rage simmered, threatening to spill over. Then came Sunday dinner at Mom's. The table was set with her old plates, the smell of roast beef heavy in the air. Ethan sat across from me, cracking jokes, his arm around his new girlfriend, all charm and ease. I gripped my fork, my knuckles white, watching him play the perfect son. Mom smiled at him, oblivious. My sister asked about our business, and Ethan's eyes flicked to me, sharp for a second before he laughed it off. "Ashton's keeping us grounded," he said, his voice smooth. My stomach twisted. Grounded? He was burying me. I barely spoke, my food untouched, my mind on the files hidden in my truck outside. After dinner, I stood in the backyard, the night air cold against my skin. Ethan clapped my shoulder, his grin too wide. We're good, right, little bro? My throat tightened, but I nodded, my eyes locked on his. Inside, I was screaming. I drove home, the road a blur, my hands gripping the wheel. The evidence was ready, enough to ruin him. I wasn't just saving myself anymore. I was going to take him down. How much would he lose when I pulled the trigger? I had the evidence. Bank records, forged invoices, client complaints, all stacked like ammunition. Ethan thought he could ruin me, but I was done being his pawn. I chose my moment carefully, targeting our biggest client, Horizon Properties, a developer who'd trusted us with multiple remodels. My hands were steady as I compiled the proof, but my heart raced, each click of my mouse a step closer to justice. I emailed their CEO, Mr. Grayson, attaching everything. Screenshots of double charges, bank transfers to Ethan's hidden account, and emails where he'd used my name to cover his tracks. My message was short, professional, but my pulse hammered as I hit send. The fallout came fast. By Monday, Horizon canceled 2 contracts with our side hustle. I got the call from Grayson himself. Ashton, we trusted you, he said, his voice tight. What's this about fraudulent billing? I explained, my voice calm despite the sweat on my palms, laying out Ethan's scheme while keeping my own anger leashed. Grayson listened, then hung up, promising to investigate. I knew he'd find the truth. Ethan's house of cards was falling. At the construction site, I kept my head down, directing crews through the roar of machinery. But word spread. Ethan's phone was blowing up. I saw it when he showed up at our office, his face flushed, eyes wild. What's going on with Horizon? He demanded, pacing the cramped room, the air thick with the smell of paint and betrayal. I leaned back in my chair, my expression blank. Clients talk, Ethan. You know how it is. I threw his own words back at him, my voice steady, but my chest burning. His jaw twitched, but he didn't push. He didn't know I was the one pulling the strings. By Wednesday, the damage was done. Horizon dropped us completely, and 2 other clients followed. Ethan's reputation, built on charm and lies, was crumbling. I heard from Jake that Ethan was scrambling, calling developers, begging to save deals. His voice cracked in voicemails, his cool facade gone. I listened to one, forwarded by a client, and felt no pity, just a cold satisfaction. My hands, rough from years of hard labor, felt lighter as I stacked blueprints, knowing I'd struck back. That night, Ethan showed up at my apartment, unannounced. The knock was sharp, urgent. I opened the door, and there he was, his F-150 parked crooked in the lot, his designer jacket wrinkled. Ashton, what did you do? He asked, his voice low, eyes searching mine. I stood tall, my arms crossed, meeting his stare. Just cleaning up your mess. I said, my words clipped. His face paled, the realization hitting him like a punch. He knew I'd turned his game against him. He stepped closer, his breath uneven, but I didn't flinch. The air between us crackled with unspoken threats. He turned and left without another word, his footsteps heavy on the stairs. I closed the door, my heart pounding, but my resolve was iron. Ethan's world was collapsing, and I was just getting started. How much more would he lose before he broke? Ethan's pale face at my door haunted me, but it didn't sway me. I'd exposed his scams to our biggest client, and his world was unraveling. Contracts gone, reputation in ashes. I'd held back one final move, waiting for the right moment. That moment came when I sent my evidence to the authorities. Every forged invoice, every bank record, every client complaint, packaged neatly for the district attorney's office. My hands didn't shake as I mailed it, but my chest tightened, knowing this would end him. The construction site buzzed around me that day, but I felt detached, my mind replaying Ethan's lies, his smug grin. I was done carrying his weight. 2 days later, Ethan showed up at the site, his F-150 screeching into the lot. His eyes were bloodshot, his designer jacket replaced by a wrinkled hoodie. Ashton, you gotta stop this, he said, his voice cracking as he grabbed my arm. I pulled away, my boots planted firm on the gravel, my stare cold. Stop what, Ethan? Cleaning up your lies. His breath hitched, and for the first time, I saw fear in his eyes, Not the polished charm, not the arrogance, just raw panic. "They're coming for me," he whispered. "The cops." I nodded, my voice low. "You did this to yourself." His hands fell to his sides, trembling, as he realized I'd turned his own game against him. Word spread fast. Clients cut ties completely, and Ethan's name became poison in the industry. I heard through Jake that old friends stopped returning his calls, his girlfriend left, and his social media went silent. His empire, built on my trust and his deceit, was gone. At the sight, my crew's whispers shifted. Now they talked about Ethan's downfall, not mine. Callahan called me in, his tone softer. "You're clear, Ashton. Good work." My shoulders relaxed, but the victory felt heavy, like lifting a beam alone. That night, I sat in my apartment, the silence thick. My phone buzzed. A text from Mom, asking why Ethan wasn't answering her. My throat burned as I typed a reply, keeping it vague. I thought of our childhood, Ethan teaching me to swing a hammer, his laugh echoing in Dad's garage. Those memories were tainted now, stained by his betrayal. I'd won, but at what cost? My hands rested on the table, steady but scarred, proof of the work I'd done to rebuild. Revenge was justice, but it left a hollow ache, like an unfinished blueprint. The next morning, I got the call. Ethan had been arrested. Fraud, forgery, the works. I drove to the station, not to see him, but to confirm it was real. Through the glass, I saw him, head down, cuffs glinting under the fluorescent lights. My chest tightened, not with pity, but with finality. I'd taken everything he'd built, just as he'd tried to take everything from me. Would I ever fill the void he left behind? Ethan's arrest was the final nail in his coffin, but it didn't feel like victory. I'd torn down his world, his clients, his reputation, his freedom, leaving nothing but rubble. Now I stood in the wreckage, trying to rebuild my own life. I took over our renovation business, renaming it Ashton Builds. The office above the hardware store, once filled with Ethan's laughter, was mine alone now. The air smelled of fresh paint and possibility, but my hands, rough from years of labor, still felt heavy as I signed new contracts. Every step forward carried the echo of what I'd lost. The construction site was my refuge. My crew's respect returned, their nod steady as I called out orders over the roar of machinery. Callahan gave me a new project, a big one, a strip mall on the edge of town. My boots crunched on gravel as I walked the site, my chest lighter than it had been in months. But at night, alone in my apartment, the silence was loud. Mom's calls went unanswered. She didn't know the full story, and I couldn't bring myself to tell her. My sister texted once, asking if Ethan was okay. I stared at the screen, my thumb hovering, then put the phone down. The truth was too heavy. Guilt crept in like damp rot. I'd done what was right. Ethan's scams had nearly cost me everything, but he was still my brother. I saw flashes of him as a kid, teaching me to measure a board, his grin wide as we dreamed of our empire. Those memories clashed with the image of him in cuffs, head bowed under harsh station lights. My throat tightened as I sat at my kitchen table, a half-empty coffee mug cold in my hands. Had I gone too far? I pushed the thought away, my jaw set. He'd chosen this path, not me. Justice wasn't supposed to feel good, but it was necessary. I threw myself into work, signing new clients for Ashton Builds. Mrs. Delgado came back, her trust restored after I refunded her overcharges. Mr. Patel called with a new job, his voice warm. Each deal was a brick in my new foundation, proof I could stand without Ethan. The business grew, slower but cleaner, every dollar earned honestly. My shoulders squared as I walked job sites, my voice steady when I negotiated. I wasn't the kid brother anymore, trailing in a shadow. I was building something real. One evening, I drove to a new site, the sunset bleeding red across the horizon. The lot was empty, just dirt and stakes, but it felt like a beginning. I leaned against my truck, the air cool, the weight of Ethan's betrayal finally gone. Trust was a hard lesson, but I'd learned it. Justice had cost me family, but it gave me back myself. What would I build next?